All right, man. Okay, we on? We on? Okay. Hey, man, it's comedian Leon the Jokester, man. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. Yeah, we're back home. I had so much fun in Austin, Texas, at the high school, the school for the blind and everything. We were able to perform out there, and we just had a wonderful time. So I want to give a shout out to all the schools, all the high schools. Before I get started, all the high schools that have been showing me a lot of love and principals. I want to shout out all the principals, all the teachers, all the counselors. You guys have been great. And so shouts out to Kansas, the Kansas market, Montezuma, Kansas, Wichita, Kansas for having me. Where else? We just flew back in from Austin, Texas yesterday. So that was fun going to perform at another high school, School for the Blind. We're at a theater this Saturday. Yes, yes, in Henrietta, Oklahoma. I'll be going out there doing another comedy show, and then we get like maybe about 2 weeks, 3 weeks off. Then early May 6th, we'll be doing another show in Oklahoma City, and then May 14th, I'm doing a barbershop comedy show. And then my birthday, I turned 39, May 29th. So I'm looking forward to that. June we have shows, July we have shows, believe it or not, and then off in August to get things ready for September, where we'll be doing college shows. And then I just got word from a few churches that want me to come back and do Celebrate Recovery comedy shows in December. And then I got a really, really huge call that just kind of blew me away. There's a high school, preparatory school that wants me to do a huge principal conference the spring of 2023. So I'm really looking forward to that. So with all of this success, I think it's time for me to kind of take the time out and talk to all of the students and even teachers and principals in schools. I want to talk to you guys today about value. Value. I think it's very important, when we go to speak at the different schools, it's important to teach as well. And so for things that I don't get a chance to do when I'm on stage, because we only got like 60 minutes. And so I kind of use that time in three increments, like 20 minutes of this, 20 minutes of something else that the students always love, including the teachers. And then the last 20 minutes, I get to leave off with something else. And so, with that being said, I don't always have enough time to be able to do what I could do on the podcast. So, today we are going to talk about value. And then, for all the students that have been asking questions about how do I know what to charge people, because everybody in the world will consider themselves a motivational speaker now. Everybody, like if you're on YouTube, Instagram, social media, everybody is trying to encourage someone to do either good or bad, positive or negative. And so what I want people to realize is that you have purpose, right? You have purpose, and you're not an accident. Like, you are on this planet for a reason, and I believe it's to show love. What other message do we give to the students? To show love to one another. The teachers show love to one another. The principal show love to one another. Okay, so that's going to be the core value. But what I really want to talk to you guys today about is value. What is value? Let's define it. It's basically you setting a standard. You have value even when other people don't see it. So when you set that standard and know your worth, you now travel everywhere. You can go anywhere in the world, and you can present that value that you have from within you. Because let me tell you something. I doubted myself, but not anymore. I didn't think for like 6 years ago, I got started in stand-up comedy, right? And I didn't think that within 6 years I would be booked in all the other markets outside of Oklahoma. I thought, oh, I'll be a comedian, I'll be local, I'll do it for $20. That's what was I guess in my mind when I first started, that's all I felt like I was worth. I felt like my value stopped at $20. And most corporate companies will have loved to have met me 6 years ago, but things have changed. All right. So what I'm trying to say is that if you're a young student and you're like, I have this great idea, I want to I want to get into performing arts. I want to get into the entertainment industry. I want to be a musician. I want to be an athlete. Whatever it is that you want to do, you have to sit down, look yourself in the mirror and decide, you know what? I have value in this. Let me practice more. Let me take extra classes. Let me take advanced classes, AP courses. And let me let me invest into my dream, my purpose, my value. Okay. So with that being said, let's close up because I don't want this to be long because you could be doing something else and I want to respect your time. But I appreciate you tuning in. So this is the most important part. I learned the hard way over time, but I want to teach it to every student tuning in right now, because if you don't get this, then you will be taken advantage of. Yeah, when people throw you to this society is cutthroat. They will throw you to the sharks and you will be eaten up alive if you don't know your value and know your worth. Okay, first of all, you have to always be mindful that you are a solution to a problem. So the reason why we tell people to go to school to be a doctor is not just because we want you to be a doctor. We actually want you to become a doctor because there will always be sick people, right? We want you to become a lawyer because why? There will always be people breaking the law. There will always be people committing crimes, okay? So the reason why we try to push students, right, into the direction of that type of level of success, that type of platform, is not just because it's cliche or that's what we want everyone to become a doctor. Everyone's not called to be a doctor. But what I'm saying is that if that's something that is in your heart, you should pursue that. If you want to be a brain surgeon, I have an 11-year-old son, and my wife and I, we both have agreed that, like, wow, he actually wants to be a neurosurgeon. So we will buy him different types of things, especially that game called Operation. We got 3 boxes. We have 3 boxes of Operation. And so, but that's because we care about his vision. We care about his purpose. We care about his value. So then when he works so hard to graduate from medical school, then he's not saying, well, I'll do this I'll do surgery on this person's brain for $20. No, you're going to make 6 figures, son, because you know your worth and you worked hard. And so same thing with me as a comedian. A lot of times people just say, oh, let me book you because you're going to just tell a few jokes. No, it doesn't work that way. When you book a professional comedian, a keynote speaker, that's why I'm not just a comedian. I / motivational speaker too, because that can double your money. So what we do is we say, okay, we know who we're going to perform for, right? So we got to brainstorm the topics. Then we have to write the topics. Then we have to rehearse the topics. Then after that, we have to fill up the gas tank. And you know how high gas prices are. Then we have to pay for the hotel. We have to get to the venue. We have to do mic check. We have to perform afterwards. Do we drive home late? We're tired. Do we get the hotel? That's more money. There's so much that goes into doing a comedy show that is not just, I'll just get that person to do some jokes. Anyone can do that. When people are flying me in from Oklahoma down to Austin, Texas, the capital of Texas, they're not flying me in because, he's just going to tell us 2 jokes. No, they're flying me in because they went to my website, leonthejokester.com, and they realized, man, this guy is really carrying value. And it's something that nobody else at our school is doing currently. Doesn't mean that they can't do it, but I've already got the head start. So a lot of times, when you have a head start at something, then people will just say, let's pay that person to come because the other people aren't ready yet. But I encourage the people that are not ready yet to get ready. So then one day when I retire, you can step into my place. And it's a done deal. Now, far as pricing is concerned, when you first start off, I'm going to be honest with you. You're probably going to do a lot of free comedy shows. You probably are. You're going to go to the open mics free. People may give you an opportunity just to test the waters, but they may not pay you. Okay, so that's what most people want. There's different brackets when you're conducting business with people. So you got to educate yourself so you don't get taken advantage of. Because a lot of times, I have a disability. So sometimes people may look at me and say, oh, well, we could probably just get over on them until they find out I have an entertainment lawyer. I also have a vice president of communications and marketing, and I have a tour manager. So we have the team because that way it protects us. Most people, when they do business with me, they find out, they're shocked when I tell them, hey, we'll send a contract over. We'll send a contract over this week. Then they're like, contract? Yeah. Because sometimes in America, people like to lie. And so, I've done shows 6 years ago when I first got started. Like, I'll show up at the venue and the people that are supposed to pay me are nowhere to be found. I didn't want to leave the crowd hanging, so I did the show anyway, but I knew what it was. There's times where I talked to the executive director, and they said, oh, we're going to pay you X amount of dollars. And then when I get there, it's only half of the check. So once you start realizing that, man, no matter, and I'm not pulling the race card, I'm not going to say what race the people were, but let's just put it like this. When you educate yourself, I don't give a care what the race is, who the person is, who the person may be, you have to make sure you take care of yourself. That's why you present a contract. All my shows, there has to be a contract. I don't care if it's a contract on your end or a contract on my end. There has to be a documentation. I learned that from my job. I used to work for corporate as a case manager, and the CEO, I'll never forget it. She told me, she said, without documentation, it never happened. And back then, I didn't understand what she was talking about because I dropped the ball a few times. Now I get it. Yeah, if you do not have a contract stating this is how much they're going to agree to pay, this is what time you need to be there, this is the hotel you're staying in, this is the transportation fees. If you don't know that stuff, then you're going to put yourself in a really bad spot, because when you arrive, you may not even see that person. So that's why I say, young people don't, when you first start, you may do it for free for a year or two. But after that, you need to wise up and educate yourself and make sure that you go above and beyond to cover yourself and the other party. So watch this. Now we're going to up the stakes to, let's go $1, because I already said free. That's $0. So let's go $1 to $500, right? From $1 to $500, you're still kind of inexperienced, but you've probably done about 5-10 shows so far. So after you've done 5 or 10 shows, you feel pretty comfortable in front of a crowd for a longer time, like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes. So that takes time. That's years. That's why I always tell people that are booking people, you're not paying for the stage time. You're paying for the years of experience. So if that person doesn't have any years of experience, then obviously you're not going to pay top dollars. But, you just got to go on their YouTube and just see. Like, that's why I tell comedians, always film your stuff and upload it. Because people that want to book you, they want to see what they're booking. They want to know where their money's going. And then that also helps you when you're negotiating. Like, hey, I can't do this for no $1,000. I gotta charge you more, because look at the website. You see that I do this. I'm not at just one school. I'm not just at one nonprofit organization. I'm not at just one church. I'm everywhere, meaning that I'm versatile. And so that means that now you got to pay up because I've already done the work. And people have to, on the business side of things, people have to recognize that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to recognize who you're booking. You can't just be out here like, oh, well, I'm going to get this experienced comedian for $500 and then it should work out. Like, no. One person told me one time, it was like years ago, but one person told me like, oh, well, it's just going to be a few donors and, they're not going to, we're just doing an appreciation dinner. What does that have to do with me? You're talking to an experienced comedian and you want me to come out and put on a performance, but it's just going to be for like 20, 30 minutes. Listen, yesterday's prices aren't today's prices. You reached out to me. I didn't reach out to you. So what you have to understand is that I will never inconvenience myself for comedy. I'm financially paid for the rest of my life. I'm 38. I could be 99 and a half years old, and I set something up where I'm financially paid because of my disability. So I don't need any handouts. If you need a free comedian, just say that. I know people, I can refer you. But if you want me and my services, this is what the fee is. You could take it or leave it, because why? I know my worth and I know I have value. So that's what I'm telling young people: know your worth, know your value, because you have it. And if other people don't respect that, you have to move on. It's okay to say no. Every opportunity isn't a yes. I don't give a care how good it sounds. You know, people will say yes on the phone. People will say great things. I've had shows where people, oh, I want to pay you $5,000 and I want to do this and we're going to fly you in and we're going to do this and that, and never heard back from them. And it's probably been 6-8 months, a year. You know what I'm saying? And the reality check is it's okay. You got to be able to recognize that in this real world when people want to do good business or bad business. And I find out real fast. All I got to do is say, who do I send a contract to for payment? That's when you find out real fast, like, oh man, you want me to sign something? Yes. Because if you don't pay up, I'm going to call my entertainment lawyer and we will end up in court. And I'm going to get triple what you owe me anyway. So I don't know, man. It's fun being educated. Now I get why so many people push it, because once you're educated, no one can just run game on you. You know, even when you don't say anything, it's like, oh, they think that I was born yesterday. So remember, $500 is okay if you've only done 5 or 10 shows. Now let's go to the next bracket. I'm gonna go up to the 1,000 range. $500 to $1,000 isn't bad money. That's not bad money. You know, I feel like the people have nothing to lose with that bracket. Like I've done shows for 750, 900 and so forth. I mean, that's, a few years ago. Now it's a little higher than that, but we can negotiate and talk things out. But for the most part, it's never pennies, because you're not getting a nickel and dime type of performance. You want greatness. That's what you're paying for. People crack me up because they think they can go into Walmart and lower the prices. No, what's going to happen is you're going to end up going to jail. I'm not going to pay $10. That's what the price tag says. If you paid less than $10, you're going to jail. And it's sad, because you have a lot of people out there that are sitting in jail that try to run game on people. They got caught up in bad business deals, because you can't just get over on people just because you have a bad heart. So where are we at? $1,000? Let's do $1,000. $1,000 to let's go $1,000 to $3,000. That's fair. I would say at this point you definitely have experience on stage. You're very comfortable on stage. Once they tell you that your mic is hot, you're on, you know what to do. You know how to rock the crowd. You know how to have fun. You're doing it on a consistent basis. None of this, I had a show in January and it's July when I do my second show. You can't charge people thousands of dollars and you're only getting on the stage every now and then. Especially, I'm talking to comedians now too, because you have open mics. Why are you not there once, twice, 3 times a month, just working out material, making sure things sound good? If something bombs, if something feels uncomfortable, get up there and just keep doing what you need to do. And that's the reality check. Keep working on your gifts. Keep working on your goals. I would say between $1,000 and $3,000, you know what you're doing. Yeah. So if you feel like you know what you're doing, you got years of experience, I would say at that price, definitely 3+ years. 3+ years. If you've done a lot of shows, you know what I'm saying? If you've done a lot of shows, I would say, more. What's a lot of shows? 50+. Yeah. Go with 50+. I think with me, I'm at like 140 by now. But I would say, and that's just total. Like, that's a lot of shows. I've been on stages for so long. But, I like the stage. I'm very comfortable with my content. I'm very comfortable with every segment that I do. And I know my worth, 1,000 to 3,000, you're good to go. You're very experienced. And people got to pay that. Or you got to say no. Young people, I know you, it's an opportunity. I meant no. Because people that want to take advantage of you are evil. Don't ever trust someone. I don't trust people anyway, because people can flip the script on you. Just because you sound like you're handling business on the phone or in person doesn't mean you're business oriented. Like I told you, I've had people call me and they talk a good game. They want you to do this. They want you to do a good job. But why is it that you have a budget though? So 1,000 to 3,000, that's where you're at. Anything around 3,000 to about 5,000, I mean, you are definitely probably 8 to 10 years in the game, 15 years in the game. You could charge that much. You've done countless shows. And the more you do the shows, young people, listen up, the more you perform, the better you're going to get anyway, the more comfortable, because you're just always on the stage anyway. So you may be a little, you may have some butterflies, but for the most part, man, you're going to get up there and you're going to kill. You're going to have a blast. So just keep that in mind. Man, let me think. Let's go 5,000 to like 25,000. I know that's a huge jump, but I'm gonna tell you what I'm about to say, what I'm about to do. When you charge 5,000 to like 25,000, basically you're not just a celebrity. You don't even have to be a celebrity, because there's people that I know. There's a guy that I know that teaches comedy courses in California. And when I tell you that this guy made $250,000, because 225 and 225, how much is that? That's 500,000, right? So $225,000 he made in a year, and 500,000 is $1 million. He made $250,000 in 1 year just doing corporate events. And so let's do the math on this, not on that particular number, but watch this. If you go to 100 shows and you charged $1,000 for each show, you made $100K. You made $100,000. How in the world are you making the same amount as a doctor? Like think about that, bro. Like, we're just talking 100 shows. If you do your research on just your city alone, you have more than 100 venues, 100 companies, 100 nonprofits, 100 schools, 100 churches. And we're talking about, if you could just get 100 people to agree with your vision as a performer, comedian, motivational speaker, keynote speaker, musician, you know what I'm saying, rapper, all that stuff. If you could just get 100 shows at $1,000, bro, you just made 100,000. Your tour date schedule is going to look crazy when you show people 100 shows, but then it's also going to look crazy in your bank account when you have $100,000 in your bank account, bro. That means you could go get whatever type of house you want, whatever type of car, all that good stuff. So don't ever doubt your dreams. I got some stuff in the works that's definitely going to take me to the $1 million mark. And I'm not just saying that because I'm doing a podcast. You know what I'm saying? It really, I just, I had to strategize. When you're flying all around the world, you start thinking differently. You start getting new ideas. I was in the air. I was 31,000 feet in the air flying from Austin, Texas to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I was writing my vision in the air, bro. Turbulence and all. Like, oh man, my vision. And you gotta understand this, that like once you get into that mindset, you're focused. Like you in a different zone, different tunnel vision. So when my plane landed, I'm gonna tell you what I did. I still had to wait till my wife came to pick me up because I'm vision impaired. I took a seat. What do you think I started doing? Listening to music? Nah. You think I got on the phone to try to brag and boast about my trip, comedy tour? Nope. Because I'm mature. You know what I did? I started writing more jokes for the next show. That's what I started doing. There's no days off, because if I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it at a high speed, at a high level, I gotta be equipped. I got to be ready, because there's somebody else that's writing jokes too. They're going to try to take my spot. I remember the rapper Jay-Z said that one time. He said, man, there's somebody out there writing some rhymes in between eating their cereal, and I'm going to sign them because I don't want any trouble. And who he was referring to when he said that was the rapper J. Cole. And he ended up signing J. Cole. And now J. Cole is worth like over $20-30 million. And the reality check is, we have to start realizing that you have value, you have purpose. And when you work on your value and your purpose, it's time to change the game, man. So I'm comedian Leon the Jokester. I hope you learned something today. Tune in, man. God bless.